In the 21st century, blackmail is a crime of information. It is silent, digital, and psychological. It's the hacker locking your computer with ransomware. It's the shadowy figure threatening to leak a politician's emails or a celebrity's photos unless a massive sum is paid. It's a crime that attacks the reputation and not the body. Because of how we use the word today, it's easy to assume the mail part refers to letters, hate mail, junk mail, email. We imagine a black envelope slipping under a door, carrying a dark secret and a steep request. But that assumption is completely wrong. If you went back to the origin of this word and showed them an envelope, they wouldn't know what you were talking about. The true story of blackmail involves no letters, no post offices, and no secrets. Instead, it involves cattle, hardened steel, and one of the most violent, lawless zones in human history. To understand why we use this word today, we have to travel back 500 years to the border between Scotland and England, a place where rent was paid in blood. Let's learn more about blackmail. Let's start with the linguistics. If mail doesn't mean a letter, then what does it mean? Well, in the Middle Ages, the word mail referred to tribute, rent, or tax. It comes from the Old Norse word mal, meaning speech or agreement. So simply put, mail meant payment. In the 16th century economy, there were two distinct ways to pay your rent. First, you had what was called white mail. This was a payment made in silver, white metal. It was the standard for legitimate official transactions. If you paid your taxes to the king or your rent to the duke in silver, you were paying white mail. But not everyone had silver. In the poor, rural borderlands, tenants often had to pay in goods. They paid in labor, in grain, or most importantly, in livestock. And this was known as blackmail. Black here didn't necessarily mean evil yet. It referred to the status of the payment. It was black because it was made in base metals like copper or in black cattle. It was lower status than silver. So originally, blackmail was just an economic term. It was akin to bartering. But in the chaotic borderlands of the 1500s, this innocent term for paying in cows was hijacked by organized crime. Between the 13th and 17th centuries, the border between Scotland and England was a geopolitical nightmare. It was known as the Marches. Because the two countries were constantly at war, neither king could effectively police that border. This created a power vacuum, and there were areas like the Debatable Lands where literally no law existed. The people living there did not trust governments. They trusted instead their families, their clans, the Armstrongs, the Grahams, the Kerrs, the Nixons. These groups were known as the Border Reivers, not Border Rivers, Border Reivers. So what's a reiver, you might ask? Well, reive is an old word meaning to rob or plunder. And for these clans, raiding wasn't just a hobby. It was a livelihood. It was an actual profession. The violence was so common that even the architecture changed. Farmers couldn't live in normal houses. They had to build miniature stone castles with thick walls. But living in a stone tower is not only burdensome to build and maintain, but it's also exhausting. Eventually, you just want peace. And that brings us to blackmail. A powerful reiver chieftain would ride up to a farmer and offer a deal. He would say, "Look, if you pay me a certain amount of cattle or goods every year, I will ensure my men don't rob you. And if anyone else robs you, I'll ride out and get you your stuff back." They, as well as groups like the mob many centuries later, would call this protection. The law calls it extortion. And because these deals were generally made with poor people, the payments were made in goods, cattle, and harvest. In other words, they were paid in blackmail. This actually became a formalized system. It wasn't a random mugging, it was a contract. There were even brokers, if you can call them that, who arranged the blackmail payments between farmers and reivers. It was the ancestor of the modern mafia protection racket. Believe it or not, there was an alternative to paying blackmail, and it was something called the Hot Trod. By law, if your cattle were stolen, you were allowed to light a piece of turf on fire, put it on the end of a spear, blow a horn, and chase the raiders, even across the border into the other country, in order to kill them and take your stuff back. But obviously, the Hot Trod was dangerous. Most farmers preferred just to pay the blackmail. It was an accepted tax of living in the north. However, all good things must come to an end. And I'm putting good in air quotes, obviously. In 1603, Queen Elizabeth I of England died, and James VI of Scotland inherited the English throne. Suddenly, the border wasn't the edge of the world anymore. It was the middle of his new kingdom. And James hated the Reivers. He hated the disorder. So he unleashed a brutal campaign called the Pacification of the Borders. The Reiver families were crushed. Their leaders were hanged. Their lands were confiscated, and entire clans were conscripted and sent to fight in wars in the Netherlands or deported to Northern Ireland. The practice of collecting black rent was made a felony punishable by death. The Reivers disappeared, but the word that they made famous has stuck around. For a while, blackmail was strictly a legal term for that specific border crime. But as England industrialized, the nature of value shifted. In the 1500s, a man's most valuable asset was his cows. But by the 1800s, a gentleman's most valuable asset was his reputation. Criminals realized that the old Reiver tactic, the whole pay me or I destroy what you value thing, that worked just as well with information as it did with livestock. If I know about your affair, or your gambling debts, or your illegitimate child, I can demand payment. I'm still demanding rent to ensure your safety, but now I'm selling silence rather than protection. By the mid-19th century, the transition was complete. The black no longer referred to copper coins or black cattle. It now referred to the blackness of the deed, the dark secret being leveraged. The word was so perfect that it's actually spawned several modern variations. In the 1980s, Wall Street gave us greenmail, which was buying enough stock in a company to threaten a takeover, forcing the company to buy you out at a premium. Psychologists gave us emotional blackmail, where someone uses fear, obligation, and guilt to control a partner. And strangely, in the digital age, we've circled right back to the beginning. Ransomware attacks today are exactly like the Reivers of old. They lock up your assets, in this case your data, and demand payment to give it back. It's the 16th century border raid, just digitized. So the next time you hear the word blackmail, don't think of a letter. Think of a stone tower on a rainy Scottish hillside. Think of those border reivers, those men who turn the color of their money into a reign of terror. It's a word that reminds us that while the tools of crime have changed, they've moved from swords to software, the psychology of extortion remains exactly the same. This has been Phrases Explained. If you want to support the channel, I won't demand any black cattle. Just a simple like on this video, that'll do just fine. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the history of words and phrases. And as always, if you have some of those words and phrases that you are dying to know the history of, leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to get to them. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.